This is Meraj. Meraj is a writer. Meraj loves golf but didn't turn pro. A good thing, because he would have probably starved. He loves motorcycling, can strum and sing a bit, and is committed to nothing except a life on the road.
This is Johan. Johan is a photographer. Johan is more Indian than I am, but carries a Swedish passport. Johan has lived around the world and bankrolled his travel with some pretty interesting gigs. He's picked apples, been a bartender, worked on an oil rig, before finally discovering the camera.
Last year, we teamed up to travel for a year in India and chronicle our experiences. It's been quite a trek, a hell of a ride, a drive like no other, a flight to new horizons, and a voyage that we hope won't end anytime soon. Last week, Meraj and I tiptoed around the summer vacation crowd in Dharamsala and McLeodganj, two of the most popular destinations in the Indian Himalayas. Curious about the history of these towns and the state of Himachal Pradesh, we sought out the grave of James Bruce, the British appointed Viceroy of India in the mid-19th century, and discovered a fascinating trail of historic events.
When he was in China, in retaliation for the torture and death of 20 European and Indian soldiers, he ordered the destruction of the old summer palace at Beijing.
We moved into yet another homestay in Sidhpur on the suburbs of Dharamsala and visited the Norbulinka Institute that aims to showcase Tibetan arts and culture. Above McLeodganj, we abandoned our ride and set out on foot for a leisurely stroll to the popular Bagsu waterfall and a place that was once hippie central, Shiva Cafe. Meraj got all nostalgic, and we followed weak traces of his memory up the hills into the idyllic village of Dharamkot. In this place, that still harks back to the glory days of the beatniks and flower power, we sought out one of the most popular eateries in town and dived into a glorious meal. Meraj even coerced a hapless young man into playing some seriously retro glam rock. Thankfully, we have now extracted ourselves from his reverie and are heading towards Bir and Billing.
Bir and Billing, usually referred to collectively, are in fact separate townships in Kangra Valley located at the foothills of the Indian Himalayas. Part of Himachal Pradesh, Bir and Billing encompass what is considered one of the finest paragliding locations in the world. A reputation that has transformed these once sleepy hamlets into bustling adventure sport destinations. Interestingly, Bir and Billing's love affair with adventure sport began not with paragliding but with hang gliding. The first World Cup for that sport was organized way back in 1984. Even though hang gliding never really gained traction in Bir, or in India for that matter, the event brought the site into the limelight and paragliding enthusiasts began visiting the villages. Billing, located at 2,430 meters above sea level, lies near a ridge that drops straight down into a large basin-like valley. At the bottom, 14 kilometers away by road lies Bir. On the southern edge of Bir, vast meadows in the village of Chaugan provide the perfect landing site for flyers taking off from Billing. Fascinated by these flying devices, young men in Bir and Billing took to the sport in a big way. Today, over 25,000 flyers take off from Billing. The majority are local pilots carrying thrill-seeking visitors who are strapped along for tandem flights. Paragliding and the supporting infrastructure required to cater to thousands of visitors is now the primary occupation for residents in these villages.
Here we are! Excited? Nice to meet you. So we've decided that perhaps one of us can take a ride and one of us can actually learn how to, learn something. And since I'm done with entrusting my life to other people, I'd rather learn. And Johan, a man of faith, is going to take the flight. Believe. Wow. All right. Whoa. I think I saw a vehicle loading up. I think that
is for
him.
Yeah.
You better run along then.
I'll go for a flight.
Carry on.
See you here.
One of the pioneers of the sport and amongst the first wave of flyers to visit Bir, Gurpreet Dhindsa continues to represent the country at international events.
Just to clarify to people who will be watching this video, it normally takes, the first course is 6 days.
6 days.
Yeah,
6
that's-
days is enough to get you into the air.
Yeah, but small slopes and you're still not qualified for unsupervised flying.
So basically today I'm just going to ascertain my.
You will learn how to bring the glider up.
Okay, something.
Hopefully you will be able to do that.
I wouldn't count on it. All right.
We'll start with the introduction to equipment.
The first part of the lesson, like in any other discipline, is getting to know the equipment. The paraglider is a much more complex device than it seems, and it's imperative to check it before every flight.
When I open the glider, there's a side which has stitched fabric and this side which has some openings. Okay, the opening side stays away from the wind. Okay, you will figure that out later on. I generally say the first course is like a military drill, right? You do things because saabne bola.
Gurpreet shoots me down when I pose a question. He clarifies that at this stage, it's important to listen to the description of the task at hand and try and internalize the process of laying out the glider. He said that because it's paramount for safety, this process has to register in muscle memory so that I'm able to execute it without thinking. I get that. A lot of sport is like that. You practice so that the technique becomes part of muscle memory, and then you can just focus on being creative.
So now next step is to check the lines. So first check is more sensory, like a tactile check. You're not really looking, what you're doing is you're holding it.
Complicating matters are the multiple lines that can literally tie you up in knots.
That's the harness, there's some straps, you will see their function. You wear it just like a jacket, right? There are two shoulder straps that go over your shoulder, right? And then these leg straps come between your legs and attached to the corresponding outside buckles of leg strap, right? The red thing is a safety thing. It's basically that you can never close the chest strap without the leg strap, reminder. So because accidents have happened, people close the chest strap and forget that the leg strap was open. And then you slip through the harness. It can get really dangerous. I mean, there have been accidents. So since then, they have made some safety devices for that, right? So now your harness is done. Carabiners are a little different. This one has a safety lock here, this brass part. It will not open till you press here, and then it opens. But some of them have twist locks.
Okay.
So you get familiar with whichever harness you're using. They might have little different system. So main thing is the energy does not come from your hand. What you're holding, it's not with the arms you launch the glider. Energy comes from the body, from the carabiners. It comes from your legs and runs through carabiner to the glider. This is energy zone.
So you
So-
started you pulling from your hips, you're pulling from your.
Pulling your hip, then you bend your elbows, that is the guide up. And you wait till the glider is up. What will be close? There will be no pressure backward on the thumb,
Okay.
and the running would be slightly easier.
Okay, that means it's gone up.
Then it gone up. So immediately now it has become air. See, till when it's sail, there's a lot of backward force.
Right.
When it cuts through the air, it's suddenly easier.
Right.
And then like, hey, wait, let me pick up speed. So actually after this, we pick up speed. But today, our exercise is up to here only. So after damping should always end with your hands back up, not with the hands staying down.
Okay.
Okay, your hands back up. So boop, it's just a pump. Boop, the glider came up, and then we go.
Okay, I know that looked like more work and less fun, and that's precisely what it was. But taking to the air is serious business, and safety is paramount. The devil when it comes to adventure sport is truly in the details. Even if you're just looking for an adrenaline rush, there's no rushing the prep. I'm quite chuffed. I think this is something I can and would like to pursue. Nothing like carrying your own glider to places and taking off.
What determines the flight duration in this sport is more than just the sheer altitude difference between the jump-off point and the landing site. Things like wind conditions, humidity, temperature, and season make a difference. During this time of year, the plains are really hot, leading to strong winds in the afternoons. It's possible to fly higher and longer. But on the flip side, the turbulence can make the flying unpredictable and even dangerous. In Billing, the conditions are perfect for paragliding. The only flying site in the world with better conditions is in Italy. So here I am at the same jump-off point from where I first tried this sport. I have much less fear and a greater understanding of what paragliding entails. It's time to take off. You have a big glider, huh? Is your personal glider or
No,
it's the company?
It's a company glider.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's for two people, this one.
Yeah, I'm
What-
just pilot.
You have your own glider also?
No,
You
I
gotta.
don't have.
You want to get one?
Not now.
Yeah.
Maybe next year.
Yeah. Killed it. That was all right.
Yeah.
Awesome, bro.
It sounds like the script from a film. A couple move to a village in Himachal Pradesh, lease a farm, take up farming, and adopt a pastoral lifestyle in an attempt to reconnect with nature and revisit the modern paradigm of living that consumes indiscriminately with little quarter given to balance in ecology or sustainability. But that is in fact a precise, even if terse summary of the genesis of Shunya Farm in Bir village.
Angelica, who's Colombian, and Anshul, who's from Delhi, met while both were living in the Auroville community in Pondicherry in South India. While Angelica, an architecture student at the time, was wrapping up an internship, Anshul, a mechatronics engineer, was part of Sacred Grove, a community that constructs houses using natural and recyclable materials. Passionate about the environment, the couple decided to embark on a project to explore feasible solutions that enable sustainable living and leased a 1-acre organic farm in Bir in 2017. Keen to share their knowledge, the couple encourage volunteers on the farm and also run courses for city slickers like us who are keen to reconnect with nature.
Nature is forgiving, and especially when you're working towards a long-term goal of creating a sustainable system, you should give yourself that space to make those mistakes and learn from those mistakes.
Kishab lives in Bir and is volunteering at the farm. Till 2014 he used to be a marketing wonk and lived in Mumbai.
It just involuntarily happens that you get more interested about where your water is coming from, where your food's coming from, how is it grown. That just starts happening eventually, I guess.
I've been on a kind of pilgrimage last few years, and then a realization came to me: what matters is, in order to be healthy, what we eat. It plays a crucial role. So in my exploration about what's going on in this field, I came across this Shunya Farm.
I've been interested in natural farming. I do some bit at home, some gardening. Do not use fertilizers. But the idea of natural farming is what has been exciting to me, which brought me here.
I'm at a stage in life where I'm looking at giving back what all I've received. So I thought, let me know how ecology works or the universe works in a certain way. Maybe I can learn something from that.
Before 2013, part of Shunya Farm was used to grow corn and wheat in succession. While some of it was used to grow fodder for cattle, part of it was a garbage dump. Today, it's grown into a repository of diverse plants helping preserve the region's biodiversity. It's also generated a great deal of interest in other crops that are more resistant to climate change-driven fluctuations in weather. Mata Sharan, a local farmer, has been with Shunya Farm from word go.
इस फार्म पे आप कब से हो?
इस फार्म से 6 साल से।
6 साल से?
हाँ जी।
अच्छा, तो यहाँ पे मतलब ये कैसे शुरू हुआ ये फार्म? मतलब बाहर ये शहर से लोग आए और उन्होंने खेती बाड़ी करनी शुरू कर दी?
ये जो थे, ये जो फार्म स्टार्ट हुआ जब एक फॉरेनर अमेरिका से कपल,
हाँ, अच्छा,
उन्होंने स्टार्ट किया।
अच्छा,
तो उन्होंने स्टार्ट करा हुआ है। मैंने जब वो स्टार्ट किया था तब मैं यहीं।
तो आप मतलब गांव वालों ने क्या सोचा कि दो ऐसे गोरे आ गए और उन्होंने खेती शुरू कर दी? थोड़ा सोचा, थोड़ा दिमाग घुमा हुआ है?
सोचा, हाँ, जब लोगों ने तो यहाँ सोचा कुछ ये क्या कर रहे हैं, ऑर्गेनिक जो है वो क्या कर रहे हैं, जो जैसे खुदाई नहीं करनी, ट्रैक्टर नहीं चलाना।
अच्छा, कुछ नहीं, ना खुदाई ना ट्रैक्टर, अच्छा, नेचुरल। अच्छा।
He knows the region intimately and his insights into growing plants here have proven to be invaluable.
तो मतलब आप सिखा रहे हो यहाँ लोगों को?
अभी तो लोगों ने जो देखा वो सीख ली है, लोगों ने देख लिया है कि कैसे होता है।
आपने क्या सीखा है इधर?
मैंने तो यही सीखा कि यहाँ जो ऑर्गेनिक है, वो सबसे बेटर तरीका है।
चलिए बढ़िया है, चलिए हम भी कुछ उठा लेंगे फिर जाने से पहले शायद। थैंक यू जी।
ठीक है जी, वेलकम।
The berries are delicious. The locals agree. A number of people source organic ingredients directly from Shunya Farm. Good quality produce requires good soil. The best soil comes from composting, and Shunya Farm has its own compost, where nothing goes to waste. So I suppose, I mean, when it comes to living in the city, there's not much farming there, is it? We're just kind of buying stuff in the supermarket and consuming stuff that actually comes from somewhere completely different. When you're here, I mean, you see it firsthand. I mean, you're growing the food you're eating, and I'm sure it's making you reflect a lot about what really matters, because here you can do it all yourself. Yeah. Is that the takeaway that you want people to walk away with this?
Yeah, because when we started doing this, it was not an idea of, oh, we want to be farmers, or oh, we want to solve the problem of food in you know, I mean, generally. We were on a self-discovery kind of a journey, and we were really trying to understand why, though we know so much, about the world and we have all this information, we're still not being able to create any change, and we're still not being able to live life in a holistic way. Why so many people are frustrated and depressed, you know, with all the resources possible. What I do think is possible is within our communities, if we can start creating some change. So even people who are in the cities, they can have some power only when they start coming together. That's another big challenge that we have today, is that we don't want to work with people, because that's always a problem. So we don't know how to actually start creating smaller communities. And once a consumer starts creating some sort of change, then the producer's situation also changes. So if there is a mobilization of consumers within the cities who say that we don't want this kind of food, and we are going to support a kind of farmer.
You're voting with every penny you spend.
Exactly. So, I mean, money is the biggest vote that we have today. Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. And so
with that, I mean, the change can really come from within every individual in that case. That, you know, you change their mind, and then that changes their consuming behavior, and that changes the producers, what they're producing.
Absolutely.
But then, that kind of insight. I mean, I think coming here to do a workshop here, then you get that kind of insight where you can really change your mind and change your whole perspective, I suppose.
And it gives you a lot of time to think, which we don't get in the cities.
Which is why such a big part of your workshop is observation, to reflect upon.
Absolutely, because in the cities you're always pushed to do something, and you know, you always have to talk about what you're doing, and you always have to say that you're busy and you're doing so many things, but in reality you're not really going to depth of anything. When you come into the realm of nature, you can't really cheat. You can't really just, you know, hype things up for more than what they are.
Right. It's been an interesting day, to say the least. We lead such a disconnected life in the cities. We buy veggies and fruits from the supermarket, with scant thought to where those are coming from. It's almost like we take it for granted that we can eat whatever we like, whenever we please. We don't think about seasons. And what we certainly don't think about is what consequences our needs have for the environment. I think people who live in the city would really benefit if they spent a week in a farm like this, working in a field and truly comprehending what it means to grow something.
Do you think if in 2014 somebody had told you this is what you'd be doing in 2019, would you have believed it?
No, but I guess that timeline is a very city thing, no? Where you think about what's going to happen 3 years, 4 years down the line. That's a very standard HR question, no? They put that question to you in every HR interview saying, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Out here, that question it's kind of irrelevant.
Kangra Valley is really quite picturesque. An hour's drive from Bir and just south of Palampur city, the landscape changes as does the weather. Here it's warm and humid enough for tea leaves to flourish. Not surprisingly, the British established a tea estate way back in 1857. The Wa tea estate has changed a number of hands over its near 150-year existence. The man in charge today is Surya Prakash, whose family has run the estate since 1953.
Hi Johan, hi Meraj.
Hi guys. Hi Surya.
How's the drive?
Oh, the drive was great, yes.
Welcome. Welcome to the Vati estate.
Wow,
We're in the Kangra Valley. However, our factory is closed today because of elections. So what we'll do is I'll show you a couple of things.
Sure.
And then we'll go for a walk around the estate.
Sure, sounds good. What is this?
So this is basically kadhais or woks.
Right.
This was the traditional way of making green tea. What we believe is, I think that when the Britishers set up tea estates in India, this is something which they taught the local Kangra people.
Oh.
So this is the first step which we call panning.
I see.
Where we heat the kadhai or the wok.
Right.
There's wood which goes from the bottom.
Right.
So the kadhai gets hot.
Right.
And when the fresh leaf is plucked, we put it into the kadhai.
Okay.
So what green tea is unoxidized or unfermented tea.
Right.
So this is basically the first step for making a good cup of green
Unoxidized?
tea. Yes. However, we don't use these because they've now become very small. So when you do it in larger quantities, we have a bigger machine which does the same thing.
Right.
But this is a little bit of heritage from the Kangra Valley.
How old is the estate again? Oh, 1857.
So the estate was established in 1857 by the British.
I see.
And then they were here till 1905.
Right.
And then it's changed hands and reached my family.
Wow. Shall we take a walk at least?
Yeah, sure.
Huh?
Winging it has its advantages. The factory has been modernized a fair bit and we take a short look around. Unfortunately, we've landed up on a holiday and don't have the opportunity to catch Wa's tea pluckers at work.
So what you're tasting is basically a retail line.
Okay.
On the furthest right, you have the plain green tea. Then you have a lemongrass green tea, a tulsi green tea, a chamomile green tea,
I see.
the plain black tea, rose tea and masala tea.
So these are all infused?
So these are all infused.
And that is the non-infused?
That is the non-infused one and the black tea is the non-infused one.
Okay.
So now we'll talk a little bit about the teas. What we manufacture in this area is called orthodox. So orthodox. Whereas Assam makes the CTC. So CTC is the one which you boil in water.
Right,
These are all
right.
supposed to be brewed.
Right.
So what I'll suggest is you can start with the plain green tea or the plain black tea and then taste the flavors. I'll show you how we kind of do it. So we usually, so you take it in.
Where is it? It's right there.
So you keep it in your tongue, but
Right.
with your lips you're trying to suck in oxygen. So the noise comes because of that. Yeah, something like that. And what you look at in the cup here is this is what we call the infusion. So if you look at the difference, this is the plain black tea. If you look at the color, it's more coppery, whereas these are light green.
Right.
That is because of oxidization.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So the oxidization makes the tea more orange or red.
Right.
And the same thing is visible in your infusion as well. So if you look at this part, you will see a little bit of a coppery color to the leaf, whereas this is more green.
green.
And if you smell them, they smell very different.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
But the green tea is healthy because it's less caffeinated and it has more antioxidants and catechins which are healthy for you.
Catechins?
Yeah, so they're basically a part of the plant which remain because we don't let it oxidize. Same thing with caffeine. So the caffeine, it doesn't get caffeinated because we don't let it oxidize. Whereas black tea becomes more caffeinated because of the oxidization process.
What sort of caffeine does black tea have?
So it's a natural caffeine. It's not that we add it, it's a natural caffeine. However, it's lower than coffee.
Oh well, nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
Right, Surya.
Pleasure.
Over
I
and
hope
out,
you guys
Captain.
had
Thank
fun.
you very much for your time. And we'll be on our way to less fine pleasures.
Thank you for stopping by.
Not at all. Thanks. Wow, bhai, wow.
After a month of making hay while the sun shines, Meraj and I reluctantly have to call it a day in Himachal Pradesh, but not before one last hurrah in Andretta, the famous arts village that's well known for its pottery studio. In this tiny piece of idyll that is home to well-known potter Mansimran Singh, world-famous hedonist Dennis Harap, and a motley bunch of artists, Meraj finally finds his spiritual home.